Welcome back, everybody. Today we're here to talk about two sneak peeks we got for The Walking Dead Season 9 finale. One is from AMC's YouTube channel, and the other one is from Talking Dead. Both really cool sneak peeks where we get to see, the storm coming, and there's definitely some interesting character dialogue in one of them that I want to discuss. So with that being said, let's get started. So the first sneak peek, we see the group walking in the road, and this is obviously after they leave the kingdom, because in the opening minutes we saw the kingdom is now officially, gone down because of all the pipes and stuff. It's just not livable there. So they're on the road heading back to one of the other communities, and Daryl and Carol are talking about Lydia because Daryl is definitely supporting her, and he said like Henry wanted her here, nobody else did, and says that she's a good kid. So I like how Daryl's like sticking up for Lydia, because it makes sense also because Daryl has had a past that he's had a rough past before, and even though he was part of the group before, or like as soon as the zombie apocalypse started, he was pretty much part of the group since the beginning, but still him and Merle, they come from a pretty rough past, and I think that's why his character is so interesting. Him and Merle, I see a lot of Walking Dead fans always saying like they would love to see a Merle and Daryl spin-off, and I think it's because they're so interesting in their past also. And I'm sure Daryl also sees like the similarities between him and Lydia because he got abused by his father, and Lydia gets abused by Alpha. So I don't really get why anybody would even want Lydia to go back. I mean, yeah, her mom did a horrible thing, but you're not gonna, like, she's a young child. I think in the TV show, I'm assuming like she's probably like 15 or 16. Like, why would you want to send somebody back to getting abused like that? So I like how Daryl's like sticking up for her. And then Carol says, every time I look at her I think of him, meaning she thinks of Henry. And this is gonna be interesting because it kind of ties in with the second sneak peek we got from the Talking Dead, because it looks like Carol and Lydia are gonna have a pretty deep moment in this episode. And I'm sure Carol's gonna be accepting of Lydia, first of all because she's now part of the group, and Daryl trusts her and she loves Daryl, so she's gonna allow it. But I'm sure she's gonna let her know like don't mess around with us, because I'm sure it's gonna be interesting to see if she ever is on the same page as Lydia. Like are they ever gonna be like are they ever gonna bond, or is she just gonna look at Lydia as just like an outsider in their group? Because I'm interested in that, because it's so weird now since Henry died. In the comics, like we know it's Carl and Lydia, and Carl didn't die in the Pike. So like I'm just interested to see what they're gonna do with Lydia's character. Is she gonna be like in part of the group forever now, or is she gonna die, or is she gonna go back to the Whispers, or what's gonna happen with Lydia? Because now Carl and Henry are both not on the show, so we just don't, like, that whole storyline is finished now. So it's gonna be interesting to see like how long she's gonna be part of the group, and is she gonna be in season 10 and moving forward like that. Daryl also says something very interesting here. He says to Carol, after she says that thing about every time I look at her I think of him, Daryl says, what do you see when you look at me? And then Carol puts her hand on him and like basically tries to comfort him and says like, I see you. But I don't know, like I don't feel like I might be misinterpreting this scene or this line of dialogue, but is Daryl kind of saying like the way I kind of read it, it was like, is Daryl saying like, do you see me more than just a friend? Like, I don't know, I don't want to jump into any conclusions, any romances or anything, but that line of dialogue, maybe I just totally misinterpreted it, but that's the way I kind of read it. Because after this, the focus kind of switches to King Ezekiel and Jerry. We're going to talk about it in just a minute, but King Ezekiel kind of looks back at those two talking. So I don't know, I don't want to jump into any conclusions, but is this setting, like, I don't know, is Daryl kind of asking her like, do you look at me more than just a friend? Like, maybe that's what it is. And I know Daryl and Carol is a huge popular romance theory, and now we know Carol is with King Ezekiel, and Daryl is like just somebody who we're always like kind of saying like, oh, is he gonna be with Connie? Is he gonna be with this person? So we don't ever really know what's up with Daryl, but I know Carol and Daryl, people always want those two to come together, and I think Carol and Daryl are gonna end up being together eventually. Both, I just feel like because both those characters are gonna be there until the end. We know Norman Reedus and Melissa McBride both signed 3-year deals, which would take them to season 12, which I kind of see season 12 being a good stopping point for the show. But if the ratings are still good and still steady, I'm sure they're gonna want to keep going. But I think right now they don't want to jump too ahead. Like, they're not gonna be like, okay, we're gonna do 20 seasons of this show, so let's sign everybody to 10-year deals, right? Like, everybody we want till the end, let's sign a big ass deal for them. I don't think they want to do that. So I feel like right now, I think they know they're gonna make it to season 12 at least, because The Walking Dead, even though the ratings have declined, the show is still like very high up in ratings, among other TV shows. So I think and especially after how good this season is, I'm sure they're pretty confident in making it to season 12. That's why they signed those two, because I'm sure they want them to be until the end. And I think by season 12, I don't know if King Ezekiel's still gonna be there, who knows, but I have a feeling that they might end up being together. And some people have a feeling that King Ezekiel is gonna die in the finale, or they're gonna do like another big death. I don't really think they are. Like, why would they have another big death? I don't think episode 16 is meant to have a death. I think that was for episode 15, and I think episode 16 is going to set up season 10 with the war. King Ezekiel could die in the war, though. I mean, we saw what they did with Abraham. In the comics, Abraham died where Denise died in the TV show, and then he died just a few moments afterwards, with the Negan lineup. So they could do the same thing and end up killing Ezekiel in the in the Whisper War. But I do feel like, after, I just don't think King Ezekiel is gonna make it all the way to the end. But I do think Carol and Daryl are, and I think they are gonna end up being together at some point. And then, like I said, the focus switches to King Ezekiel and Jerry, and they're discussing the storm because they know a big storm is about to hit. And King Ezekiel says, well, we need to get to the next way station before it hits. So what I found interesting is I don't see Sadiq or Rosita or Eugene or Judith or anybody here with them. So it looks like episode 16 is gonna do a bit of a time skip, and those people are, because based on promo images we have, they're back at home with Negan, right? So, but this still looks like a lot of people compared to that, trailer we got for episode 16. So maybe some people are gonna die in the snow. It's gonna be hard to see walkers. It's gonna be cold as heck. So I'm not gonna be surprised if some of these people don't make it back home. So that's how it kind of ties in with the Talking Dad sneak peek, because in the previous one, King Ezekiel said we need to camp somewhere for the night, and then the next one it is kind of nighttime and it's like snowing like crazy. So this is gonna be intense in the snow, and we have a lot of people there. And then also during this sneak peek, Lydia kind of like, she's standing there and then she kind of goes in the back. Like, hopefully she doesn't run away. I don't know if she is because it's hard to tell, but Daryl says that, where did Lydia go? And then Carol said, okay, I'll go look for her. So maybe, Lydia's kind of having like a breakdown or something. She's taking all this in and she wants to leave the group or something. Maybe not like she doesn't want to betray them, but maybe she just wants to leave and be on her own for a while. Because in that promo that we got for episode 16, we had Carol and Lydia talking, so we know Carol's going to get to her. Another awesome thing about this sneak peek is that King Ezekiel says we have to assume they have eyes on the border, make sure the others are ready to go. So they are going to be crossing the border, like we saw that also in the trailer we got for the episode. So maybe that's also why, Lydia doesn't want to go back. Maybe she, they're going to cross the border most likely, and maybe they're going to go even try to talk to the Whisperers or something, but they're crossing the border. And now they're gonna, Lydia doesn't want to go back there. I'm sure she's terrified of her mom, and just not even terrified because she left, like her mom left her, but maybe she doesn't want to go at all and see her mom or the Whispers, so maybe that's also why she leaves. So maybe like Michonne and Daryl and them, they don't even make it back to Alexandria at the end of this episode, because this episode might be setting up the Whisper War. We're gonna see, but I'm assuming they're gonna try to get home. I don't think they want to go after the Whisperers in this storm, but they are crossing the border, that is. And the reason I bring that up is because we know back home with Eugene and Sadiq and them, they're gonna be messing around with that radio. And I made a video yesterday talking about how Angela Kang said the end of this, the last scene of this episode is gonna change everything for the characters. And I definitely think it's gonna be somebody at the other end of that radio. And if it is Rick, oh my god, I'm excited for that. And I really hope it is Rick. Michonne and Daryl might not be there for that, hearing of his voice, but they are probably going to find out in season 10. But hey, Judith and RJ, they're back at home and they're going to possibly hear their dad's voice. But man, I am so excited for this. Like, if we actually hear Rick's voice, I'm gonna jump up and down. Like, seriously, that's gonna be so amazing. And then the next part is like I was talking about before. Daryl turns around and looks at the group and he says, hey, where's Lydia? And then Carol says, I'll go look for her. So I do think Carol and Lydia are gonna have a moment, and I'm sure they are gonna be like, I don't think they're gonna hate each other or anything like that. Carol, she knows that Lydia is just a kid, and I'm sure they're gonna be okay with it. They're just gonna have to have that conversation. Like, that conversation needs to happen in order for Lydia to be fully part of this group. And then the sneak peek ends with some walkers attacking them. Like, Daryl standing here, and this walker rises from the snow, and Michonne points it out. and Daryl kills that walker, and then another one pops up from underneath King Ezekiel. I'm sure he's gonna be okay. That's where it kind of cuts off, so we don't see if Ezekiel kills the walker, but I'm sure he will. I kind of have no clue how these walkers are even alive, like how are they not frozen, but it's alright, whatever, not a big deal. But it's gonna be cool to see like this is gonna be very dangerous also. That's what I mean when I said earlier, like there are a lot of people with them, you know, trying to make it back from this blizzard, and I'm sure there's gonna be some people who might not make it because of walkers. And when was the last, like, we haven't had many walker kills this season. I know early on they had one when they came back from that museum, you know, they're dealing with the, like, they had some walkers in the road, and I think that takes us back to like some classic Walking Dead when they're just on the road surviving and some walkers come at them. But now, you know, walkers aren't that dangerous. I mean, they're dangerous, but they know how to handle them, and I think snow is gonna definitely add a whole new element to it. And I'm assuming some people are gonna die. Like, I don't think everybody's gonna make it out of this. Like, it's gonna be a little bit weird if everybody survives, you know, snow walkers. I'm sure somebody's gonna jump out and bite someone. But yeah, that is where the sneak peek ends for the Talking Dead. So those were the 2 sneak peeks, one from AMC's YouTube channel and then one from Talking Dead. Let me know in the comments down below all your thoughts and opinions on it. Like, what do you think is gonna happen between Carol and Lydia? What do you think is gonna happen between Daryl and Carol? Like, was I totally misinterpreting that scene? Do you think they're ever gonna be together? Let me know in the comments down below. But with that being said, I am gonna wrap it up there. Hopefully you guys did enjoy this video. If you did, be sure to leave a like rating, and for more Walking Dead content just like this, hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you guys later.